Welcome back to the Barrel Zone, Friday morning edition, season 1, episode 15. The usual NBA market rundown for the Friday slate. We have 8 games, a couple of interesting ones. I have a few strong leans. We will get right into it. I'm going to put up my odds screen and we will go through these games business as usual. You know the drill by now. If you have any comment or feedback, reach out on Twitter at The Barrel Zone. And if you want to tell my place, you can go to patreon.com/The Barrel Zone. I've posted my written analysis on Twitter today for free. You can check it out. Discord members get that every day. And obviously, you can ask about all the games. So, first game on the board, Cleveland Cavaliers hosting the New York Knicks. This is a really interesting one. These are the two teams that I think have been probably the most underwhelming through the last 2 weeks or so. Yet the Knicks are laying 2.5 points on the road. Why is that? Cleveland guards Sexton and Garland are announced out for this game. We knew that Garland will be out for a while. And Sexton was like questionable. He was announced in a few times, but then he was scratched before start. So neither of them will play. These are the two best scorers on the teams when it comes to offensive efficiency. They obviously have a real high usage rate. So probably the two most important guys when it comes to putting up points. And why they are out, Cleveland couldn't score over 100 points now for 9 straight games. 9 straight games with under 100 points for Cleveland. So that's pretty tragic. If you check their Cleveland defense is still pretty decent. They are allowing the least points per possession, 105. They are 16th in effective field goal percentage, so around league average. They don't allow too many free throws, and they are still forcing the most turnovers in the league. If you check the other side of the ball, the Knicks are still a strong defense. They are. I had to downgrade them a bit after a few weaker performances, but if you check most metrics, they are right around the top 10. And they will have a huge edge here, which is rebounding. The Cavs are one of the worst defensive rebounding teams. The Knicks are like top 10-ish in rebounding. Pretty similar teams, but the Knicks have faced a much more tough schedule. And I think we need to talk about how much the Cleveland squad did underperform through the last 2 weeks. So they are minus 12 in on average in point differential. They were minus 5 through the whole year, so they are almost 9 points worth per game since Sexton and Garland is out. And they are also minus 3.9 points against the spread. So even after the spreads were moved based on the Sexton and Garland news, they are still underwhelming and underperforming against these lines. On the other side, New York is also underperforming, but they are priced pretty efficiently on the market. So I think the market knows what to expect from the Knicks, and them opening up as road favorites, I think, is totally fair. I think this has the potential to move out to like Knicks minus 3.5 or so. A couple of soft books have Knicks minus 2.5 up. I think that's there is a small edge there. You can even probably buy cheap money lines with the Knicks if you want. So they are fully healthy, and they are similarly strong defense. If you check the schedule difficulty they faced, and they have way stronger rebounding, and the two guards missing for Cleveland, I think is a serious issue that they will have to deal with. So I'm not sure this will move out that much from the current minus 2.5. It might stay here, but my lean would be the Knicks here at this price. Next game on the board, It's another one where we don't have a line. The Boston Celtics are at home hosting the Orlando Magic. We have a couple of questionables here, so we know that Tatum will be out for Boston, so he isn't playing, that is for sure. And we have questionables in Brown, Oyaleye, Tice, and Green. So yeah, Boston had to close their training facility on Thursday. They just reopened it later that day, so we don't really know if Brown and these 3-4 backup guys will play or not. But I mean, it is important to the spread, obviously. If they play, I would make Boston around a 3-point favorite or so with Tatum out. If Brown, Oyaleye, and the backup guys don't play, it could be closer to a pick'em. Orlando, I mean, we have to talk about Orlando. I'm always saying that this point guard experiment isn't really working, and now we have stats to back it up. So since Fultz went down through the last 2 weeks, they are 27th in point differential, 29th in differential against the spread. They are underperforming their spread on average by 8 points, and they are 29th in points per possession. So yeah, I think the rookie isn't ready to run an NBA team, and we are starting to see this. And besides the Fultz injury, Michael Carter-Williams is out, Fournier is out for this game, and now Mo Bamba is also out for this game due to COVID contract tracing. So it's really hard to back the Magic, even if Brown and the other guys will be out. But I think you have to monitor their status, and a fair line, I would say, would be around Boston -3 or even 4.5 if Brown and everyone is playing, based on how banged up this Orlando squad is. But if Brown and the others are out, it's a really difficult bet to make, as Orlando still has a few good players, and yeah, you don't really want to lay points with Boston without Tatum and Brown and a few backups. I think that's a tough ask. So I would probably stay away if the questionable guys end up not playing. But if they do play, I think Boston should probably be around a 3 or 4 point favorite. Not much more, but I think that's fair, and I really don't see the Magic winning this if Brown is also playing, to be honest, based on how the last few weeks have gone, and they are really looking bad since the point guard injury. Next game on the board, Milwaukee Bucks hosting the Dallas Mavericks. This is another one where we have COVID issues. One thing we have to note is that there are 5 guys in the COVID protocol for Dallas. They are Brunson, Richardson, DFS, Maxi Kleber, and Dwight Powell. And the first 4 guys are eligible to come out from the protocol today. Currently, they are tagged as out, so I think they won't play even if they come out of the protocol. But if you want to bet this game, make sure that they play or they don't play. At this point, they are not expected to play. So I was lining this game with everyone out. So Brunson, Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber, and Dwight Powell. Powell will be the guy who will be out for longer term, as he was added to this protocol a bit later. So we had Porzingis return in the last game of Dallas. He played 21 minutes. He is now tagged as probable with an ankle injury. I think they will play it super slow and steady with him. We won't see Porzingis play more than 25 minutes for a while. I mean, he will have an effect for sure. Even now, especially that everyone is out. Basically, the Mavs don't have really big players, and the front court is just empty right now. But Porzingis won't be a fully healthy 35-minute Porzingis right now. So my line is close to Milwaukee -6. That's the current market line. the raw power numbers would put this around Milwaukee -4, 4.5, and then obviously you have to add points to the spread because of Brunson, Richardson, etc., missing. I wanted to talk about Dallas, how they changed the game up. I think it's really interesting. Through these last few seasons, they were this high-flying, running, high offensive efficiency, no defense team like Houston. But now they play a pretty good defense. If you check the stats, Dallas is third in points per possession allowed defensively, third in effective field goal percentage. So yeah, they're keeping their opponents at reasonable scores, and they are pretty decent at defense. On the other side, the offense did suffer a bit. While obviously Porzingis being out is also a factor here, but the Mavs are around league average in offensive efficiency and points per possession. Two things you have to note. I always say this: smart coaching leads to low turnovers and many free throw attempts, and they are fifth in turnover rate offensively, so they don't give the ball away, and they are drawing the eighth most free throws. So I'm pretty impressed, to be honest, what the Dallas is doing right now. Through the last 2 weeks, they have a plus 9 point differential, and they are plus 6.7 points on average against the spread. And they face the tough schedule, so they are overperforming all expectations. And I think the market is a bit too low on them. I wouldn't be backing them here against the best offense in the league. Milwaukee has also been great through the last few weeks also, but as on the whole season generally, and they have the better offense by far, and their defense is similar. So yeah, I have edges towards Milwaukee on both sides, but I agree with the spread. I don't think you will find value here, but as I said. It's important to note that the Mavs have been outperforming the spreads consistently through the last 2 weeks. We will see how Porzingis' minutes build up, and if the rest of the guys come back, we might find some value backing the Mavericks down the line in the next couple of weeks. Next game, OKC Thunder hosting the Chicago Bulls. Game is off the board. We have OKC -1s and Chicago -1s up. I have these two rated very similarly. I can accept basically any team being a 1 point favorite here. I think that's a good line. Even if OKC goes up to like a -2, I can live with that. You have to note Chicago has been off for 5 days now. We don't know how this long early season rest affects them. I won't go into any narrative thinking, but that's one thing you have to know. They won't have Satoransky or Hutchison here. They are both recovering from COVID, so they got the virus. It wasn't just contract tracing why they were out. But Markkanen is back and Otto Porter is probable. I really like the Bulls. We've been riding them for a few games through the last 2 weeks. They're always getting like 8 to 10 points against the spread, and they have been covering like 70 plus 80%. They are plus 5 points against the closing spread on average, and yeah, so they have been keeping the games close. But this is not the point, not a spot where I like the Bulls like as road favorites or road pick'em. I like them as big dogs as they play decent basketball, and I think they have some depth. They don't have like stars or like huge scoring power, but they do have guys who play decent basketball, and I think they are a capable team. So yeah, these two are really similar. I also like OKC. They have bad rebounding, but besides that, they play some decent defense, and offensively, things might get better down the line. But although they aren't a hugely talented offensive bunch, one thing to note: Basley will be out here. Muscala will get most of his minutes. I think he's offensively a bit more efficient guy. Yeah, so I'm not like underrating OKC based on that. So this is a really close game, and Bulls getting pieces back, but long layoff. I think you can find better spots on this card here. Next game is one where I have a strong lean. So the Minnesota Timberwolves are 3-point favorites hosting the Memphis Grizzlies. This is a rematch. The first game was won by Memphis, even when Karl Anthony Towns ended up playing. I like Memphis here again. The game is off the board right now as Ja Morant was upgraded to questionable, which was a huge surprise to me. I thought he will be out way longer. But the Memphis Grizzlies are playing Philly tomorrow, so this is the front end of a back-to-back. I think if Morant comes back this weekend, he will play tomorrow, not tonight. This is like a way easier matchup for them, and I wouldn't expect him to play both games of the back-to-back set. So yeah, game off the board, Morant questionable. Mini has a few forwards out. Lehman and Hernan Gomez are both out. Rubio will be still out. He isn't such big of a factor to start with. So yeah, the Minnesota Timberwolves are one of the worst teams in the league. I don't think there is anyone questioning that. They face the 19th most difficult schedule, so easy schedule relatively. And they are in the bottom 5 of all offensive and defensive metrics I'm tracking. It's a disaster. They have a minus 12 point differential through the last 2 weeks. That's the worst hand in hand with the Sacramento Kings. They are also underperforming their closing spreads by more than 4 points on average. I mean, it's a disaster. On the other side, I like what Memphis is doing. They haven't given up after the Morant injury. They are facing a top 5 most difficult schedule based on ESPN's strength of schedule. And if you check their defensive stats, I was kind of amazed. So they are allowing the 5th least points per possession. The 9th lowest effective field goal percentage. They are forcing the 4th most turnovers, and they are also decent in rebounding and free throw rate on both sides of the ball. When we talk about Memphis' rebounding, they are a top 10 offensive rebounding team, while Minnesota is allowing the 2nd highest offensive rebounding percentage in the league. So Memphis will have a huge rebounding edge. They have a way better defense. They face the way tougher schedule and they perform better. And the Wolves have some injuries also. So, I mean, this Minnesota -3, obviously this went off the board based on the Morant news. But even if Morant wasn't playing, this spread is just way off. The Grizzlies are the better team. They are a solid defensive team, solid rebounding. And you don't need to score many points to beat Minnesota. I mean, if Karl Anthony Towns isn't on, they just cannot put points up. So yeah, I really like Memphis here. This spread will probably reopen around Minnesota -1 or 2, something like that. But it can move back to like 2.5 if Morant is out, and I think eventually he won't end up playing here. So this spread should be somewhat efficient. This -3 that we see, but I don't agree with it. I like Memphis to win this game, even if they play a back-to-back tomorrow. They know that they will probably lose to Philly, so I don't think they will keep the minutes low for the key players here. So yeah, Memphis I think is a fine lean here, but check the line when it comes back online on Pinnacle. So Utah Jazz are hosting Atlanta Hawks, our next game. Sadly, I don't have a numbers edge here, but again, a game where I think the Hawks side is not bettable in any shape or form. The Hawks have been through a terrible regression through the past 2 weeks. I just one stat: they are the 6th best team in points per possession through the whole year, but they are 21st through the last 2 weeks. So they have been a well below average offense through the last 2 weeks. They are underperforming their closing spreads by around 3 points. And they face the fifth easiest schedule in the league per ESPN strength of schedule. So I think the defensive numbers are bullshit. You can throw that out. They faced really no one with the real defense. And offensively, they have two strong stats: the rebounding and the free throw rate. So the rebounding is strong mainly because of Capella. He's an amazing rebounder, but he's questionable here. That is why, I mean, I think the Jazz, as the best rebounding team or top 3 rebounding team in the league, will be able to out rebound them and take away that edge. And if Capella is out, I mean, they are in a pretty rough shape, I think, when it comes to controlling the boards. And for the free throw rate, the Utah defense allows the least free throws in the league. So yeah, if the Hawks are not able to draw those shitty free throws and extra points that they usually do, and they won't be able to control the boards, they are in deep shit. And if you have followed the Jazz through the last 2 weeks, they have been playing pretty decent basketball. They have almost a +8 point differential. They are clearly a top 15, maybe even borderline top 10 offense, and defensively, I rank them as 5th or 6th. So strong rebounding, decent stuff all across the board. And with the regression to the Hawks, I think their true skill lies somewhere between what we've seen these last few weeks and how they started the season. So they might be a bit better than what we've seen through these last couple of games. But this is a bad matchup, and if Capella is out, it gets even worse. Plus, the Hawks play Atlanta tomorrow. So my problem here is that I don't show a numbers edge. I make this -5.5 to -6, but it is a game that I would probably bet at Utah -5.5 because how this matchup sets up. And I mean, if Capella is out, I would even probably bet the -6. To be honest, I don't like laying too many points with the Jazz as they are still not like that high flying offense that covers big spreads. But yeah, I think they are the side, the rebounding edge, the defensive edge. Atlanta regressing, Capella maybe out, and if this game starts to get away from them, you can bet that they will probably keep the minutes low and focus on the Portland game tomorrow. So next game on the docket, LA Lakers hosting the Pelicans. It's another game that is off the board. The LA games are always off the board because they always tag James and AD questionable overnight. James played in all games so far this season. I think AD skipped like 2 games. But unless it's a back-to-back and we have any reason to expect them not to play, which we don't hear, I think they will play. So I'm capping this as James and AD are both playing. On the other side, we know that Ball will be out for the Pelicans again, and we have Bledsoe as questionable and Adams as questionable. Bledsoe had an eye issue. He was skipping the last game of the team. I think there is a good shot that he will sit here as well. As for Adams, he's dealing with migraines, but he was playing through migraines the last time. So I would say that Adams will probably play, and Bledsoe maybe is a true questionable. I would probably lean towards him sitting. If he sits, this will probably go to Lakers -10 or so. I think that's the fair line. Even if now that he is questionable, I would probably take like a middle position between the current -8.5 that we see at a couple of soft books and the 10. So I would make this like Lakers -9, 9.5. I think that's fair. So I would say there is some value on the Lakers here. And again, I really like the matchup for LA. I'm always talking about the Pelicans. They are pretty dog shit at everything besides rebounding and drawing free throws. And the Lakers defense and the Lakers team, this isn't a team you will be able to out-rebound. They rank better in rebounding on both sides of the ball. They played a tougher schedule and they performed better. This is one of the top rebounding teams, and they also don't give up as many free throws. So if you cannot draw those extra points with your key scorers against this squad, I think you are in a rough shape. On the other side, I mean, the Lakers haven't been the best team against the spread, and they always play like with pretty low urgency. They just want to win the games. They don't want to cover. They don't really care about beating the Pelicans by 10 points. So this makes it a pretty rough team to back, especially laying like 10 points. So I would need probably better value than this to get involved. But if this like comes down to like a 7.5 or an 8, that would be pretty hard to resist. I'm really low on the Pelicans. And the stats are pretty ugly. Offensively, they are the 21st best team in points per possession, the 21st best team in effective field goal percentage, and they have the 5th highest turnover rate. And defensively, it has been an extremely bad tendency through the past 2 weeks. So they were a league average defense to start the year, but through the last 2 weeks, they are a bottom 5 defense. So yeah, I don't like what the Pelicans are doing. I think the Lakers will be able to pretty easily win this game. Maybe if you are into parlays, you can parlay the Lakers with someone else like the Jazz or, I don't know, the Celtics if they have those pieces back, if you don't want to lay the points. But I think this spread should be around 9, 9.5, 10 if Bledsoe is out. So yeah, this 8.5 might be some value on the Lakers, but this is probably the product of them not covering most of their games. So keep that in mind. Another game, the final one on the slate, which is pretty risky to say at least. So the Kings are hosting the Clippers. The Clippers are laying 6 points on the road. My line here is Clippers minus 6, 6.5. We have Beverly and Lou Williams questionable. If they are out, this means probably more minutes to Kennard, Reggie Jackson. So, I mean, it's not like a giant downgrade. I think 6 is probably the right line here. I think my raw numbers would put it around Clippers minus 7. So we put in a small downgrade because of these guys being questionable. But I mean, you cannot back the Kings in any shape or form. They are the worst team right now in the league, probably. They allowed 23 3-pointers to the Blazers, and the Clippers are the best 3-point shooting team in the league. That's that. Some stats around the Kings, and then I will bash the Clippers as well. So the Kings are minus 12 in point differential on average through the last 2 weeks, and they are minus 11 against the spread on average through the last 2 weeks. So I mean, they are underperforming their closing spreads by 11 points on average. They are the worst defense in the league through the last 2 weeks, allowing almost 126 points. I mean, the Clippers offense is first in the league when it comes to points per possession, 4th in effective field goal percentage. They have great numbers across the board. My problem is the defense. They rank 27th in points per possession allowed, 27th in effective field goal percentage. They are consistently out-rebounded. That has been an issue. I think I'm not the Pelicans. They played the Pelicans, I think, a few days ago. All the stats were pretty nice, but they got heavily out-rebounded, and the Pelicans kept the game close. That's the problem. If you are out-rebounded and you have a shitty defense, no matter how many scores you put up, you will be an unreliable team to back ATS. So I really wanted to back the Clippers here, and I went deep into their stats, and I just cannot. So the thing is, both of these teams are preferring these mid-range shots. Clippers shoot like the top 10 amount of threes. The Kings prefer these short mid-range shots, and the other team is very bad in stopping these. So they both face pretty good offensive matchups. the total is at 230, so that tells you a lot. I mean, it's a high total, but I don't think we will see many stops here. And yeah, the Clippers covered one of the last 5 games. The Kings covered 1 game in the last 7 games. And yeah, ATS, as I told you, the Kings are minus 12 against the closing spread on average through the 2 weeks, but the Clippers are minus 7. So these are the 2 worst teams in the league right now, back when it comes to spread performance against the spread. And and I don't really know what to do. I think both will be able to score. This total might be low. I mean, I don't see either of them getting stops, but the Kings have so bad defensive stats, and I'm not a believer in their offense to keep the production up. So I would probably lean towards the Clippers, but as I said, I would need way more value to bet this. Like if this goes down to like Clippers -5, then I would be probably forced to bet them, but it's just not a team that will cover you big numbers, especially on the road. But yeah, I think the market is slowly catching up to the fact that the Kings have been one of the worst teams in the league through the past 2 weeks. So yeah, unbettable game. I think unless we get like huge value on either side, like a 2-point move, I would stay away. So I will recap everything. I like the Knicks. I think without Sexton and Garland, the Cavs won't be able to put up many points. The Knicks aren't an offensive juggernaut, but they are a bit better than Cleveland, and they have strong rebounding, and I think they should be closer to like -3 here. Celtics are a team to watch, but I don't think we will get a good deal here. Orlando has been one of the worst teams offensively since Fultz went down. They have a couple of injuries. They look really bad right now. I think Boston will open up like as a -4, 5, even 6, even if we don't know if Brown and the others are playing. So we won't get value here. The books have been burned by these COVID games, so they won't give you any free snacks here, to be honest. Bucks Mavericks, I don't think there is any angle to play there. I like the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't think they should be underdogs, even if Morant is out. They have the way better defense, strong rebounding. The Timberwolves are a mess, and I think even if Morant isn't playing, and I don't expect him to play, they know that he will come back, and that kind of gives some mental boost. And they have been playing well and winning some games, so they aren't. The season isn't lost yet for them, and I think that's the most important thing. Why the Wolves are already in the shitter. I really like the Jazz. How this matchup looks for them against the Hawks. Monitor Capella's status. If Capella is out, I think I would probably even bet the Jazz at 6. Otherwise, if this comes down to 5.5, I think that's a fair wager. The Jazz are really good at not giving up rebounds and free throws, and besides, without them, this Hawks team is nothing. They are very bad at offensive efficiency. And yeah, I think the Lakers line will probably move towards the Lakers. We might see a 9.5, even a 10 here if Bledsoe is out. As I said, Pelicans is very similar to the Hawks. If they cannot out rebound you and draw those extra free throws, they are lost. But the Lakers aren't a good team at covering big spreads, and they might not give it like 100% as we usually see. Clippers Kings, unbettable game. Both teams will have success scoring. I would lean towards the Clippers just based on how bad the Kings were, but I don't see any value here, to be honest. If this moves big towards either side, which I don't see, I would probably fade the line move, as I think this -6 is right. So that is it for today. Please follow on Twitter at The Barrel Zone. If you want to tell my plays, you can go to patreon.com/The Barrel Zone and join the Discord channel. We have a pretty, yeah, 5-6 games slate tomorrow. It might not be that rough. We will start talking about NHL as well, I think, in a few weeks. My plan is to do just like a few minutes at the end of each show. Like I'll talk about a few games, maybe my favorite leans, something like that. And yeah, we'll have baseball in a few months. So lot to look forward to. I see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Thanks for hopping in, and good luck tonight with your wages.